This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network.
This is what you can look forward to on episode 175, our 4th of July spectacular of Skywalking through Neverland.
We're patriotic to our country, just not to our neighborhood.
And George was surprised to hear that there was something from the prequels still living and breathing in the Star Wars universe.
As long as his cookies aren't burning, he's good. He's a happy droid.
Roger.
It would be one of those hugs that drags on way too long.
You know what? We will name our first child Freemaker Adventures.
You guys have been learning from Dave Filoni how to tap dance, haven't you?
It's like General Grievous and the Terminator had a baby, and they delivered MOC.
But we'll show him being overrun by a horde of angry Hoojibs. Hi, this is Bob Roth.
And I'm Bill Motz.
And we're the creators of LEGO Star Wars, the Freemaker Adventures.
And we are Skywalking through Neverland.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Hello, Skywalkers.
Listen. Off to Neverland.
I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it was all started by a mouse.
Wow. Oh, what?
You are skywalking through Neverland.
Happy 4th of July, Skywalkers! But if you're outside the U.S., then a big hey Skywalkers to you. Are you ready to talk some Star Wars, Disney, and Lego this week?
Ooh.
Well, if your answer is a resounding yes, then we want to welcome you all to Skywalking through Neverland. This is your fun-filled, positive Star Wars and Disney podcast that takes you through a tour through many, many decades of fandom. I am Richard Woloski, and now everyone please salute my sweetie wife, Miss Sarah Woloski.
Da 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 da. It's the 4th of July, and as we speak, in about 4 minutes down our street will be a 4th of July parade. That's so exciting.
Generally, we're involved. However, this year, we're involved with you Skywalkers.
Yes, we're live to you guys, so we're not going to watch the parade, I guess.
We'll watch it. Well, we're sitting in front of our window here, so we'll watch it go by and wave to the people.
Yeah, we'll see it. It'll be fun.
We're patriotic to our country, just not to our neighborhood.
Yes, and speaking of being patriotic, we like to start each and every episode with a giant Wookiee hug to our family of Skywalkers who listen to the show every week. Whether you're listening later on your own podcast device, or whether you are watching live right now on Facebook, over here, our Facebook page, or on YouTube.
The Skytubers.
Yeah, and everyone's commenting, happy 4th to all. Yay! Look, Jabba, posted a bunch of fireworks.
Amanda Bakken just joined.
Wisdom of Wookiees just shared our video.
Woohoo!
This is exciting.
This is a party of all 4th of July parties.
Yes, and you know what? The party continues on Twitter as well, where we are at Skywalking Pod, and that's where we love to hear your thoughts about the episode. So, hey Skywalkers, tell us what you think.
I think we are recording from Long Beach, California on the 4th of July, 2017.
Whoa!
And now, Minnie, gotta ask you this question we ask you every week. What time is it?
It's 9:58. Good morning.
She didn't say anything about the 4th of July. You'd think she would.
Maybe she's coming from the outside of the U.S.
Oh. But she was born in the USA.
Very true. Then I've got no answer. But what I can answer is what's coming up on today's show. Boy, I love my segues. We're going to have a really fun discussion with Bob Roth and Bill Motz, the creators of LEGO Star Wars, the Freemaker Adventures.
Yes, and we'll be talking about what's to come in this second season, which the entire season premieres July 31st on Disney XD. Now, we don't want to give anything away right now, but it is a Hoojib-tastic conversation.
Oh, foreshadow. Now, we also have shout-outs, a Skywalker of the Week, and things we want to share. But first, we want to thank everyone for sending in their clips so quickly. And we still have some more coming in about their favorite fandom highlighted moments.
Yes. So in case you didn't get this last episode, Richard, can you explain?
This segment, which we still need a name for, we're asking people to tell us what you think elevated fandom.
Right. And this is for Star Wars and Disney.
Yes. So what, like a film, like a Star Wars film, that's the obvious choice. They elevated fandom. Now, last week we had Dave Parfit come on and he told us about the story of Star Wars.
Right.
Which really, as a kid in the 70s, that elevated fandom because we didn't have YouTube or VHS or Blu-ray. We had to listen to the story of Star Wars. And as a fan, that's the only thing you had to go by. And I think that was one of the biggest elevations of fandom in the 70s, because once again, without that, the fans had the books,
right,
which was good, but you couldn't hear it. So that was a great moment, and we have some more great moments, but you know what? Let's go into one of these great moments.
Oh, perfect. So we're going to do another segment.
Yes, this one comes from Jason and Gabe of the Blast Points podcast.
Hello, Star Wars fans and Moof Milkers everywhere. Welcome to Blast Points. This is Jason.
And it's Gabe.
And today on Blast Points, we're doing an episode we've been waiting to do for years. I have got a list of 400 Star Wars characters and 400 songs by the dynamic rock group Kiss. And we're going to figure out what Star Wars character, what would be their favorite Kiss song. So I figure we start out with Prune Face.
Wait, no. As much as fun as that would be, Jason, I think we're supposed to do the Skywalking through Neverland thing right now.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, so Richard and Sarah contacted us asking us what our favorite event, release, etc., standout moment in the last 40 years of Star Wars would be for us. So, Gabe, what is yours?
I got to think for me, it's May 1999. Phantom Menace. I mean, I was a huge Star Wars fan before that, but there was just something about new Star Wars. You know, would I still like it? Would I like it as much as the old stuff? Not everyone had the same reaction, but man, that movie blew my mind. It was crazier and more over the top than anything I'd seen at that point, and it basically just made me love Star Wars even more and more and get crazier and crazier, and I can't stop thinking about it. And now 20 years later, it hasn't stopped. So that part really kicked it in overdrive. I think I said it before. It was like I renewed my vows with Star Wars that day, and we realized we loved each other even more than we thought, and we want to stay married. So I don't know. What about you?
It's got to be Masters of Terrakai. You know, that game for the PlayStation 1? No. It's seriously, I was 18 years old, and theater in Grand Rapids, Michigan showed for when they were coming back out in THX, they showed the whole original trilogy back to back in the theater. It was 1994. I was 18 years old. I was just about to finish high school and leave for college. And I hadn't watched the original Star Wars movies in a long time. Unfortunately, and seeing them again a little bit older, as a teenager, kind of about the same age Luke is, the movie spoke to me in a way that they never did when I was a kid. And I remembered how awesome I thought they were when I was a kid, but there are layers in them that I never even knew that existed. Ever since that day, it's been pretty nonstop every single day. It doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon, and I really don't want it to.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, Richard and Sarah, for asking us to do this. Skywalking through Neverland, we love it. Check out Blast Points. New episode comes out just about every Tuesday. BlastPointsPodcast.com is a great place to find back episodes and all kinds of info.
If you're into the wacky and wild and weird side of Star Wars, definitely, check us out. We try to either highlight old stuff that's just too good to forget and, freak out about new stuff as it comes up.
But yeah, thank you again, Skywalking through Neverland.
Yeah, thank you.
Yay, Blast Points!
Right now with Blast Points, they sent in an audio clip, which you can do, and Dave Parfit did last week. Oh, here goes the parade.
Oh, the parade?
The parade's going by. Yeah, so once again, we love to have the audio clips, the pre-recorded audio clips, or we can arrange a Skype call and we can have a little conversation, a couple of minutes about what your fandom highlight moment was. And if you're going to send it in as an audio clip, start with your name. If you want to plug something, feel free to plug a podcast or a website or whatever you're involved in. Or if you got nothing to plug, just say your name. And this is my favorite fandom moment.
And where you're from.
Yeah, where you're from, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and either way, if you want to schedule a recording or send a recording in, please email us, share@skywalkingthrough-neverland.com. Happy 4th, Brian! And Randy Martinez has joined us on Facebook Live, so yay!
Hey guys, happy 4th of July to all. Now, before we move on, Sarah, let's kick things off with yet another round of our Yub Dub Challenge. Now, this is where we play a clip of a foreign dub from a Star Wars or Disney film, and you have to guess the film, scene, and for bonus points, the language.
Oh, the language.
Yes, so here is the clip. Put your listening ears on, and here we go.
Okay. Er en person I skapet mitt. Jeg har en person I skapet mitt. Jeg har en person I skapet mitt.
Now, if you think you know what this clip is, send us the answers as to which film, scene, and for bonus points, the language. You can tweet us at skywalkingpod, or you can email share@skywalkingthrough-neverland.com. Good luck, and now here are
Things We Want to Share.
Things we want to share. Things we want to share. Things we want to share.
All right, Sarah, on our big Freemaker Adventures episode, let's go ahead and review the very first episode, or is it the second episode in Season 2? Now, they're calling the first episode, I guess, as that's where they put all these shorts that were first aired on May the 4th.
Yes.
So they made them into one episode.
Right.
So I guess that is technically the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to review the second episode in Season 2, titled Trouble on Tibalt, which aired on June the 17th, 2017.
Now, is it Tibalt or Tibalt?
You know what? I heard it pronounced different ways.
Okay. So it can be anything.
It's Twi'lek, Twi'lek.
Right. It's like, depending on what planet you're from.
Han, I'm
going to say Tibalt.
Leia.
That rolls off the tongue.
All right.
All right. So in this episode, Trouble on Tibalt, there is a scavenger mission, and the Freemakers meet the Emperor's new assassin war droid, MOC.
Love it.
So that's basically the premise of this particular episode. We're introduced to the MOC. So, Richard, what did you think of this show?
Well, Season 2 kicks off with a bang. No pun intended. Now, this is a fantastic season kickoff. The storytelling is very, very tight. We have some fantastic space battle animation, especially the scene with the B-Wing squadron come into the fray and start attacking with the A-Wings. Beautiful, beautiful animation. And as always, I love the crossovers. The crossover characters like we get with Quarry that we had met in Rebels.
Yes.
He was the Mon Calamari that developed and designed the B-Wing fighters.
Right.
Love that Mon Calamari character. And we get Luke Skywalker in a little brief cameo. We get crossover vehicles such as the A-Wings and the B-Wings. And a great new character like the aforementioned MOC.
I've been working on a secret project that will solve our dilemma.
Secret project? That I don't know about? I wasn't aware we were keeping secrets from each other.
We aren't. I am. Meet my own creation, MOC.
Now we're going to hear more on this character later on in our discussion with Bill and Bob.
Yes.
Now, what did you think of when you saw this character? Oh, there goes the parade.
There's a red, white, and blue truck. Who's in the truck bed? I don't know.
But last year, Sarah and I were like the Grand Marshals.
Yeah, we dressed up as what? Elsa?
Captain America, and you
Elsa.
were dressed up as Cinderella.
Oh, right. Okay. But I did Elsa one year too, didn't I?
I think we've only participated once. I already topped what we did, so we didn't.
Oh, there's puppy dogs too.
Yeah, so we're recording instead of participating. But you know what? We'll wave from inside. Hey, everyone.
Hi.
Happy 4th.
All right, we're being distracted, but that's okay. It's things we want to share.
We're sharing what we're looking at outside our window.
There's people with balloons. Okay.
Now, let's go back to the MOC.
Yes.
So when I first saw this character in this episode, I'm thinking, wow, it's like General Grievous and the Terminator had a baby, and they delivered MOC.
Oh my gosh.
It had the glowing eyes of the Terminator, had all the arms of General Grievous, and at the end, well, I won't reveal, but it's a very Terminator-esque moment.
Oh, really?
For all of you original Terminator fans.
Now, is turning his head straight around, is that Terminator?
No.
That reminded me of, even though I've never seen the movie The Exorcist.
Oh.
Isn't that where she turns her head around?
Well, then she did a 360.
Oh, okay.
Whereas MOC did more of a 180.
180, okay. But still, it's kind of creepy. Even though it is a Disney figure or a Lego figure and you can do that.
And it started spouting this green pea soup. No, wrong episode. Yeah, all right. All right, now, further into the episode. Now, I gave my opinions and reviews. What did you think of Trouble on Tibalt or Tibalt?
Right. Okay, so what I thought, I think the humor is really spot on in these episodes. Like, it's just enough to make you give a chuckle every now and then. And especially when the Emperor and Vader are talking or having their little spats and things like that. So
what a cute couple.
I know. Yes, they're like a couple. They write them like a couple, not like a leader and the minion. They write them as like a couple. So I thought that was very cute.
Now, do you think they're going a little too overboard with some of the goofiness of Vader? Because I know Disney was trying to get away from that by taking away the hyperspace hoopla at Hollywood Studios and the cancellation of Star Wars detours because they wanted kids to look at Vader as how you saw him in Rogue One.
So in the very first season of Freemaker Adventures, I thought it was a little too goofy. I wasn't expecting quite that level of goofiness, but now I am prepared for it. And I find it funny. And because Lego Freemaker Adventures is kind of canon adjacent, they can get away with that.
Right.
And also this is to bring in the really younglings into the Star Wars universe and kind of give them a language a language of Star Wars.
It's like a stepping stone into Star Wars.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I know they really want to have these characters perceived as the serious characters we see in the movies, but we can't really have a Rogue One Vader in the Freemaker Adventures.
Right. Oh, no. Yikes.
We could, but it wouldn't be for the kids anymore.
No, it's not. So overall, I thought this episode was very well rounded. You know, you had a clear beginning, middle, end. The story worked. The story also served to show you what the Freemakers did, which was the scavenger. In case you're just getting into this, you know, it was good at introducing what each of the Freemakers were about. And then Darth Vader and the Emperor and the MOC were clearly the bad guys. And then you have the finale of it where you reveal this new ship.
Yeah, and the first season of the Freemaker Adventures, they were scavengers looking to scavenge here and there, but now they're part of the Rebel Alliance.
Yes, they have a purpose.
Yes, which I think aggravates Palpatine even more.
Okay.
I know earlier I had mentioned about the crossovers. Now here's one, I think, unintentional crossover, and that was the competitiveness that Vader had to maintain himself as the Emperor's right-hand man. Because in the Vader comics, that was all about how the Emperor is putting Vader to the test.
Right.
And continuously putting him to the test. And that crossed over right here in this episode with MOC.
Okay.
He's always fighting for that number 2 spot, just like he did in the comics with the character Carbon, who was the Mon Calamari cyborg. Remember him?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Only here in the Freemaker Adventures, they have some more catty exchanges between Vader and MOC, like this one right here.
So, Vader, what do you think of MOC? Pretty amazing, huh?
Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed. He lacks the ability to use the Force.
Correct. I also lack offspring that wish to overthrow the Emperor.
Oh, point for the new guy.
Oh, snap.
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 Palpatine liked that one.
Yeah. All right, so I like the cattiness between Vader and MOC, and I hope to see more of that in the future, because, come on, it's just funny.
Oh, yeah.
And what do you hope to see more of in this upcoming season?
Well, I want to see the music. Michael Kremer, he's the composer. I want to see his themes get explored even more. And in this episode, we were lucky enough to hear his new theme for the Arrowhead ship, which is very kind of forceful. It's not the Force theme, but it's very hymn-like. And then he also has the Freemakers theme as well. And he made a theme for the MOC. And in an upcoming episode, we're going to hear Michael Kremer himself, the composer, talk about these new themes that he was able to compose for season 2. And we're so excited because we got to speak with him and have this great conversation. And he's just a delight. We actually met him at Star Wars Celebration Orlando as well. And he's great.
All right, for you, it's the music. For me, it's the humor.
Okay. Yes.
Like I said, I want to see more of the exchanges between Vader and MOC. And I love the fact that Palpatine could never get Rowan's name right.
Yes.
I want Reginald Freemaker. Once I set MOC loose, Ricky Freemaker is as good as mine. Find
Rowan Freemaker.
I'm just never gonna get that right, am I?
Does that sound familiar? I knew Palpatine and I had a lot in common. Next, I want to see a scene where Palpatine fumbles through the name of the TCL, Man's Chinese Theater Grauman's
You got it!
General Cinema.
No, you're just adding to it now. You got it.
And maybe there's going to be a scene where he's going to try to say the hero of summers. Summer of Heroes, whatever it
is. He's got too many things in his head.
Palpatine, if you're listening, we have a lot in common. Let's talk.
I'm scared now. All right. Well, I think now, instead of just our thoughts on this episode, I think we should talk to the actual creators of the Lego Freemaker Adventures.
Right. So with that, let's get into a really fun discussion with Bob Roth and Bill Motz all about the Season 2 of Lego Star Wars The Freemaker Adventures and possible Hoojib inclusions.
The Rebel Alliance! This is going to be amazing!
I have a special assignment for you.
Me?
What do you want?
General Syndulla sent me?
Imagine making a single ship that could turn the tide of this war.
The Arrowhead! I can build it!
Meet my own creation. Once I set MOC loose, Ricky Freemaker is as good as mine.
Rowan Freemaker.
Bust!
They call me Santa Freemaker, superstar pilot guy.
Let him blow!
Leave this one to your princess. Never tell me the odds! Mostly because I don't understand how they work.
I will now take you to my Emperor.
Lego Star Wars, The Freemaker Adventures.
Sorry, I couldn't reach the brakes.
One of the key themes to Star Wars is family. The newest family on the block, set in a galaxy far, far away, debuted with a smash hit last year in Lego Star Wars The Freemaker Adventures on Disney XD.
Now with Season 2 coming this summer, let's find out what's in store for the Freemaker family with creators Bob Roth and Bill Motz.
Hey guys!
Bob and Bill!
Hi! Hey! Well, thank you very much for joining us. We're gonna have a good time today. Now, but I got to ask you, because I'm dying to hear this. Lego didn't acquire the rights to Star Wars until 1999, but do you guys recall building your own Lego Star Wars playsets and ships as kids? The MOCs, if you will?
Absolutely.
I recall building them and getting frustrated because, I grew up with the Kenner Star Wars toys. They were my, go-to thing. And in my playroom in our basement, one wall was covered with shells with the Kenner stuff. The other wall was all bins of Lego stuff. And I vividly recall trying to remake a Hoth base for my Kenner figures. And it was a disaster because I didn't have white bricks, not nearly enough. So I had this, half-built orange, green, red, blue base, and it was frustration. It was frustration personified.
And I did the same thing. I had an X-Wing I remember making out of the bricks, and it looked sort of like an 8-bit version, It was all just sort of big squares.
So when, back in 99, when Lego finally got the license and dove into this, man, it was a dream come true. I still have the Millennium Falcon from that original 99 set. Crude as it was by today's standards, and I've got all the minifigs from it still, and they're standing in front of my TV right in front of the Freemakers. So it's all come full circle.
That's awesome. I've got an X-Wing, the original X-Wing from that same era.
Right. Yep, so do I.
I do recall back in 99 going, about time! Been waiting for this for over 20 years now, and finally we have it.
Where were these when we were kids? Come on.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? Let's go from playing with Legos to working in Legos, being the Lego Star Wars Freemaker Adventures. Now, how did this idea come up with you guys?
Now, Bob, let's start with you.
Well, we were working at Nickelodeon at the time. This was summer of 2014. We were just typing away at our computers, and I got a text on my phone from Bob Schooley, who's a friend of ours. Mark McCorkle and Bob Schooley, they created Kim Possible. They're currently working on a Big Hero 6 show. They're our best friends and our mentors. We have lunch with them 2-3 times a week. We had lunch with them today, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, just a couple hours ago.
Got a text from Bob Schooley saying, hey, just recommended you for a Lego Star Wars show. And was like, wait, what? What?
Oh.
So, texted him back exactly that. What? And he said, yeah, Jermaine Turner, who's an executive at Disney, who we've also known for years, said, he walked into our office and said, we're looking for somebody to run a Lego Star Wars show. And those guys responded, well, it should be Bill and Bob and nobody else. So we immediately got on the phone with our agent, had her start pestering Jermaine. We pestered Jermaine. That went on for months and months.
We also had Henry Gilroy tell us.
Henry Gilroy, the next day I got a message from him on Facebook saying, hey, just put in a good word for you for a Star Wars show. And I said,
wow.
So this wouldn't have anything to do with a buildable system of blocks, would it? And he just responded, pew, pew. So we knew we had the inside track on two fronts. Because Carrie Beck had gone to him and said, do you know anybody? And he was kind enough to mention us.
Why did they think of you two specifically for this? Were you known as the big Lego guys?
And did you guys work on the Yoda Chronicles or Droid Tales?
No. We are ridiculously huge Star Wars fans. And I'll say Bill is a ridiculously huge Star Wars fan, and I'm an even bigger Star Wars fan. I've done this for years. For years, I've pretty much worn a Star Wars t-shirt every day. And, that was long before I had this job. I know Star Wars backwards and forwards, and Bill's right there with me. So, yeah, and we're both giant Lego fans as well. Bill's mom was from Denmark. Go ahead, I'll let you.
Yeah, well, so I would spend summers in Denmark going to the Legoland in Billund and, getting my bucket of bricks that I would play with while I was there, and then of course having a bunch here in the States, and so I just grew up with it. That was, and of course fell madly in love with Star Wars when I saw it 40 years ago this weekend.
Right.
And so it was in fact, Bob and I bonded over at USC over a summer production workshop in 1990 over our affinity for Star Wars.
Our first conversation was, what's your favorite movie?
Star Wars.
Mine too!
Aww.
So we, in fact, it was kind of, we work out of Bob's guest house, which is literally decorated floor to ceiling with Star Wars stuff. And it's been this way for years.
Mm-hmm. Long before this job was even a glimmer. And Lego Star Wars stuff as well. It's a fair amount of Kenner, the original stuff, supplemented with modern day Hasbro, and then also a fair chunk of Lego Star Wars.
So
and
it was,
the bad news is I'm running out of room.
Yeah, so this has all been at our fingertips for years, and which is really helpful when I can reach over and point to one of the figures and say, "Now, what character is this?" And Bob even has all the obscure ones that didn't actually make it into any of the films.
Yeah,
too,
I've got a few of those.
Now, Lego and Star Wars just seems like the perfect fit. So when you guys got the call, what were some of the first concepts and ideas that you had? Bill, what do you think?
So how we got the call is kind of funny, too, because we knew about the show from those phone calls, knew that the idea was percolating out there, and we wanted to make sure we got in on it. And
Jermaine kept telling us, now's not the time.
Not the time.
We're still getting our ducks in a row. We're not ready to talk to showrunners just yet.
Right.
Give me a break.
But we were at Comic-Con in San Diego in 2014 at an industry party that was overcrowded in the basement of a restaurant.
Warm beer.
Yeah, so we're like, we'll just do a lap, say hello to some people, and just get out of here. And so as we were about to leave, we ran into Jermaine, who had gotten the download of what they were looking for. So it pulls Bob aside, and the music, of course, is so loud and thumping, I can't hear a thing. So he whispers into Bob's
He shouted in my ear. There was no whispering.
It said, hey, we're looking for Lego Star Wars show, original characters, embraces all the saga. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So we walk out of there to find a place where we can actually sit down in a more reasonably quiet atmosphere and have dinner. And we walk the 3 blocks of the restaurant, and as we're about to walk in, Bob says to me, you know what the show is? And I said, what show? The show we just heard about show? And over that dinner, we discussed the basic ideas that still remain of what the Freemaker Adventures is. A family of salvagers and scavengers that
have a battle droid butler servant.
Yeah.
Named Roger.
Roger.
Roger was the first character to get a proper name.
Right. And so anyway,
And thank you for bringing in a prequel character.
Yeah. So anyway, we had this germ of an idea that we thought was kind of a home run, both in terms of Star Wars, which is all about family, and Lego, which is all about family. And we kind of thought, this is, no pun intended, a perfect fit.
Right.
It really clicked. But then we had to sit on that till we were invited into the general pitch meetings.
Right. So that was July.
Yeah. So that we had to wait till October of 2014 to actually, sort of whisper it to some people.
Right.
And thankfully, we went with our version.
That's awesome. You know what? One of the things we love about your show is the focus on the family, and that's what our podcast is all about too. It's very family friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So what we'd love to know, are there specific stories you've pulled from your own lives that you've used in the Freemaker stories, and maybe even looking ahead to season 2?
Some very, very specific things,
Xander and Rowan are based on my 2 sons. Xander is based on my older son in that my older son is a huge car fanatic and can hear a car. He can hear a Lamborghini 3 blocks away and tell you not only is that a Lamborghini, but he can tell you what model and maybe what year it was. It's like fine wine to him. So Xander and his affinity for starships and, starfighters and all that kind of sleek, cool stuff, that came from him. And my younger son is an adorable child who really, really struggles with staying focused and on task and sitting still and not fidgeting. And he was very much the inspiration for Rowan. And I'm sad to say, me trying to get him to do homework was very much the inspiration for Nare.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
Somebody, you have got to focus on this work. You have got to pay attention to what you're doing. This is what is going to help you change the galaxy. And him just going, can I play with your lightsaber now? I want to play with the lightsaber. Can I play with the lightsaber? Let's play with the lightsaber. When do I get to play with the lightsaber? And
the board.
And board. Although that is Rowan's line, that is something that came out of my older son. Board. Again, while waiting to go to Comic-Con, we were waiting for the train. The train was, 40 minutes late. He just started bouncing around me going, board.
And it was so funny that Bob made a mental note like, "Oh, we're
totally using that,"
and even acted it out then for the animators in Denmark at Will Film so that they could get it just the way we wanted. And that's actually become like a thing for Rowan now in the show.
So yes. I'm trying to think of any specific moments.
In some ways, for season 2, because my kids are somewhat older than yours, and one of the things that happens with families, of course, is as they mature, they start finding their own interests and they start individuating a lot more. And so there's a little bit of separation, and it's a bit of a challenge then to keep tight as a family while you're being pulled in different directions. Right. So that's a big part of what is happening with the Freemakers in season 2 is that they have this very important role within the Rebel Alliance, but individually they're sort of gravitating toward different
their own paths.
And it's a little bit of a struggle for them as a family to keep connected while chasing their different directions.
There's so many realistic moments in the Freemaker Adventures that's like, I bet that's based on a true story. That just seems so actual, seems so authentic.
Yep. That's it's ripped from the headlines of our families.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, that's a quote. Wow.
All right, now let's start talking about season 2 of the Freemaker Adventures, and how will season 2 up the stakes for the Freemaker family?
Well, just sort of playing off what Bill just said, the Freemakers are going to be pulled in separate directions. Cordy is going to find, great role models in Mon Mothma and Hera, and she's going to start gravitating towards a leadership position. Which is what she's always been in the Freemaker, the Freemaker business. But now it's, taking on a more, a bigger role with, more people. Xander is, he's going to, his pull is naturally towards being a starfighter pilot.
Superstar pilot guy. Unfortunately for him, the Rebellion has plenty of pilots. What they don't have is mechanics.
So his frustration is, I want to be out there flying the ships. And they're like, yeah, you know what? No, we need you fixing the ships right now. So that's his sort of, his frustration. And, finally, Rowan doesn't really have a natural role at first. He doesn't know what his purpose is. His purpose was, in season 1, to find the crystals for the Kyber saber. He accomplished that mission, did what he needed to do. And then threw it in a pool of lava. But then after that, he's a 12-and-a-half-year-old kid. Yeah, now what does he do? Rowan is looking for purpose in season 2. And he finds that with the help of Quarry, who we've brought in from Rebels, the Mon Calamari shipbuilder. Yeah, the designer of the B-Wing.
What do you think? I call it the Blade Wing. Oh, this is one of my most advanced designs. Fast, agile, a narrow attack profile. and it packs a punch.
That's sort of where our little trio of characters goes next, without giving away too much.
Mm-hmm.
What about Roger?
Roger.
Roger is just Roger.
Well, for one thing, they've gone from sort of being on the periphery of the galactic conflict to now they're in the heart and center of it, literally flying on home one with the Rebel Alliance. And Roger, for the first time, is with other droids, really.
Yeah.
And so he, one of his early things is just trying to figure out where he fits with those people.
How to make friends with droids.
Just be yourself, Roger. Greetings,
And he tries to do that in that short.
Right.
Yeah.
And not with great success.
Yeah.
He also seems to be trying out being a little more optimistic, which doesn't really work for him. He's not really good at being an optimist on one level.
But Roger's I think Roger's key trait is that he is like a dog, he's super loyal. And even despite himself, the logical part of his droid brain knows that the smart thing to do is run and hide. But if his Freemakers are in the sights of danger, he's going to be right there with them.
He does
trying to pull them away from it instead of them running headlong into it.
But he wants to keep the family together and safe.
Right.
Yeah, as long as his cookies aren't burning, he's good. He's a happy droid.
He might even get lucky a time or two on that front in season 2. So I'm just saying, everyone grows up.
Oh, spoiler.
Yeah, right? Well, you know what? One of the things I love about this series is that you use Kyber crystals. So, like in season 1, you had the Kyber saber. That was kind of the MacGuffin, I guess. And then in season 2, you've now teased the Arrowhead, which is a ship powered by a Kyber crystal. So what I want to know is, was the Kyber crystal usage your idea, or did Carrie Beck and the story group ask you to incorporate this to tie into current Star Wars storylines?
It just worked out that way. We had the idea of the Kyber saber, and Carrie, as soon as Carrie heard it, she said, "Yes, run with that. That's great." We didn't know anything about what was going on with Kyber crystals in Rogue One or any of that at the time.
Of course, she did.
She knew. Yeah. She knew. I mean, in the same way,
right?
When we pitched the show, this was long before anybody knew Rey was a scavenger, and we didn't have any inside track of knowledge. Had we known that, we
probably would have stayed away from it.
We would have shied away from it because they said, "Oh, they've already got that going on in the movie." Carrie heard that and said, "No, that's perfect. That's building upon
complementary to what we're doing."
So, I think the way we were proposing to use Kyber crystals, she heard that and said, "Yeah, that's fantastic. That just builds our universe up even more." So
and then as we move ahead, then in season 2, and now that we know more of what's what the role of Kyber crystals are in the larger Star Wars universe, that that's a factor.
That's a factor, and we have Rowan, who clearly has some special connection to Kyber crystals, which that might put him in the hot seat. Without giving away too much.
It's a very funny dichotomy of having something as powerful as a Kyber crystal that could fuel the Death Star super weapon in the hands of
a 12-year-old. Yes.
Oh yes.
That's hilarious. Now, on May the 4th, just a couple of weeks ago, we were so excited for these new shorts on Disney XD, and I love the fact that Yvette Nicole Brown is in there as Lieutenant Valeria. I love her in Community, and I loved her in these shorts.
Someone call Palpatine and tell him he needs more TIE fighters.
How did that come about for casting her?
Boy, I think she was a suggestion from Lindsay Perlman, our casting director.
Yeah, and which we loved. I mean, and by the way, she's not just in the short. She is a key character moving ahead in season 2.
Yeah, and she is...
Oh, good to know.
She is a genuine Star Wars fan. So it was a real pleasure to bring her in. You see in the shorts, she gets to say, "May the Force be with you." She choked up.
So let's do this, and may the Force be with you.
And months later, when we had the finished product, and she was in the booth, we said, "Come in here. We want to show you, one of the shorts." that you're featured in, and she just burst out in tears of joy. She was so happy, and she is just such a great, warm, genuine, authentic person.
Yep. Often wears a Star Wars shirt to the recording, and she is just way into it.
She's we can't say enough great things about her. And not only is she a great person, she's a fantastic actor. She's brought so much to Valeria, and we love what she's done with it, and can't wait for you guys to see even more of Valeria, because she's got some real she's
sassy.
She kicks some butt.
Yeah. And that's what we needed. Somebody who could have a wry sense of humor, who could be tough, who, as you saw in the shorts, can give a great mission briefing, but also give a wry comment here and there. And she's a fantastic supporting member of the Freemaker family.
And we should say, to your audience, if you missed the shorts on May the 4th because you were too busy doing your own Star Wars parade in your hometown or whatever you were doing, they are all available on YouTube. They're on Lego's channel and also Disney XD's channel. Just search for Freemaker shorts. Home 1 is the first episode, and that will, or the first short, that'll lead you through all 5 shorts. And they're also on the Disney XD app if that's your
preferred
bag.
method of watching.
That's true. And they're like 4 minutes each, so it's not a big time investment, but I actually love this short format for the Lego series because you're able to like pack so many things in there. Like if you just look behind what's happening in the main part of the screen, there's like all these Easter eggs that you guys have put in there.
Yeah, it's very Zucker-esque.
Yeah. Is there any of those Easter eggs that you remember putting in like, oh, this is going to be amazing?
Boy.
Yeah,
I'm sure there are, and I'm blanking on them right now.
Yeah, I'm going to have to think about... there's always... There's always a little something.
Well, how about in number 4, Xander, Freemaker, Superstar Pilot Guy, there's a little reference to Atari.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what? We'll say that one came from the director of that episode. That was Klaus, right? Klaus Darholt.
I think so.
He's one of our directors over in Denmark at Wilfilm, and that one caught us as much by surprise as it did you.
And we had a big debate about is that too out of universe? Is it not? Does it really play? All that kind of thing. So originally, the idea was to make it even more sort of 16-bit or whatever it was, and we were like, that's too far.
Yeah.
But it sort of walked that edge, I think. So it's very funny, but still feels like, well, that's still something that could happen. And
we should say Michael Hayner from Wilhelm and Wilhelm and his entire Wilhelm Scream Wilfilm Scream, we're going to call it from now on. He and his team brings so much to the show. They're such great collaborators. One of the things we were really nervous about when we started this show was, traditionally when you make an animated TV series here in the United States, your crew is sitting, right next to you. You can, if you want to talk to a board artist or director, you stand up and you walk over to them and you say, "Hey, what about this? What did you think of that? What are we doing over here with this?" And we were worried that,
with 6,000 miles between us.
6,000 miles. Can we make a show over that kind of distance? And I'll say, technology came to the rescue, and Wilfilm being such great collaborators, enthusiastic collaborators. It's just been a joy to work with these people. They're fantastic.
Well, wow. You guys are living the dream.
No kidding.
Especially getting to work with Billy D. Williams, who came back for the short Beware the Gamorrean Flu.
Yeah.
That was, I loved seeing Lando crossing over once again into the Lego universe.
That's twice you Freemakers have helped me when I was in a pinch. You made a great choice bringing them into the Rebel Alliance.
Mr. Calrissian, sir, we're proud to be a part of it.
We found a way to help the galaxy. And we found a home.
But now, I got to ask you, because I'm sure your mind blew when you walked into a Toys R Us and there on the shelf was the Star Scavenger or any of the other Freemaker Adventure playsets. How did you react to that?
Well, so I don't know if I should tell the whole story. I'm going to go ahead and tell it. I'm sure Lego people wouldn't love it. But as we've mentioned, I've bought a lot of Star Wars toys over the course of my lifetime, and I bought a lot of Lego toys as well. I've kept both those companies single-handedly afloat at times. So we were waiting. We were counting the days until they were released, and then we went over to our Lego store here in Glendale that morning. First thing, we walked in all full of ourselves, purchased the sets, and totally dropped the hints that we were expecting these because we created them.
This is our show.
So and I picked up not just one for myself, but I wanted to get some for my boys. So I brought them home.
And I got a pair set too.
So I brought them home. And I handed one to my younger son, Danny, and he was, over the moon. It was, one of my best dad moments ever. And then he, ripped open the box like a squirrel, because that's the way he is. And he goes, "Dad, look at this. They gave me the wrong instructions." And I was like, "What? That's weird. I've never heard of that happening." And I was like, "Well, I got my own here. If the instructions aren't in there, I'll open mine and you can look at my instructions." And then he started pulling out the bags, and he was like, "Dad, none of the pieces are here. This is a completely wrong set." And it was. He got the Encounter on Jakku set in a Star Scavenger box. And it was the weirdest. I've been buying these things for 40 plus years, and I've never had that experience. We called, fortunately.
And you opened the other box, right?
Yeah, I opened the other box, and it was exactly the same. Bill's somehow had the Star Scavenger.
Yeah, this is like how our luck works. I open mine, mine's fine. That's just how it works.
So, the good news is, I know people on the inside at Lego. I was able to call them up right away, and they're like, "No, that never happens. We have quality control to make sure that never ever happens." I'm like, "Guys, you know me. I wouldn't lie to you about this. This isn't a prank." So they leapt into their quality control, had them pulled off the shelves right away, and replaced with appropriate Star Scavengers, which I was able to go pick up the very next day. So, but when the one time I'm buying a Lego Star Wars set that flew out of my brain is the one time
you got
quality control
on Jakku.
Well, I'm glad it happened with you and not to someone else who wouldn't have known to call their friends over at the Lego company.
Denmark, yeah.
When we went over to Billund the first time to Lego headquarters, and they have the sketch models that they make, that the designers do to say, here's what this ship might look like, or here's... And it's this crazy thing where these incredibly skilled designers are handing you
something that came out of your brain.
Yeah, and saying, "All right, here's what we're thinking for the Star Scavenger. Here's what we're thinking for the Eclipse Fighter," and you're holding these objects, and you're both 6 years old and over the moon at the same time, and you're just like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy."
Tears are coming down your eyes.
Yeah, and I mean, and same thing with the Arrowhead and the Tracker 1, the ships for season 2, that were these things where we really worked through with Doug Chang and really talked about what we wanted them, with the ships to be, and interacted again with the Lego group about that. So to actually hold that and build it and try out the features, it's just a mind-blowing experience.
Yeah.
Exciting.
All right, now let's say that you were a fly on the wall and you were watching George Lucas and his young son watching Lego Star Wars The Freemaker Adventures. The show fades to black. What would you want to hear George say about your show?
I want George to say, "That was all right." No.
It could have been faster and more intense.
Yeah, faster, more intense. That's what I'd want him to say. No, I'd want him to be pleased with it. That could either be a dream or a nightmare scenario you've put in our heads, because George is I idolize him. Everything I have I owe to George Lucas in one way or another. So I'd hope that if he ever saw the show, he'd be pleased with what he saw and felt like it was true to the universe he created.
He did,
and I'd hope his young son would giggle along with him.
Yeah, and honestly, if you said, that's pretty good, I would be over the moon. I'd be like, it's pretty good.
I will say, this is a moment Matt Wood shared with us that, he was sometime during the making of the first season, I think before the show had even been announced, he was at some event where George was, and George was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm doing great. You know, as it turns out, I'm still doing the battle droid voice." And George was surprised to hear that there was something from the prequels, you know, still living and breathing in the Star Wars universe. And it made him, Matt said he was happy for a moment. Not that he was unhappy in general, but just like it made George smile.
He was glad to know that they are continuing on.
And so, you know, if that means in some tiny, small little way that maybe he forgot as soon as he turned around, I made George Lucas happy for a moment. And that means the world to me.
Yeah.
Because, you know, again, I owe everything to him.
I remember when we first started working on this show, I said to Carrie Beck, we had 2 items on our bucket list. One was to go to the ranch.
Right.
And the other was to give George Lucas a hug. And I remember she said, well, I don't know about the hug. But we did get to go to the ranch.
So did it happen?
Well, we did go to the ranch.
Yes, but so far no hug.
Yeah, I'm with Carrie. I don't think the hug would be a good idea. It would be one of those hugs that drags on way too long.
Yeah, you and I just tear up a little bit uncomfortably, and he'd be like, okay, we need to move on.
Yeah.
Okay, this is why I don't give hugs to my fans.
Yeah, then George Lucas waves over a couple of stormtroopers, and off you guys go.
Wow.
That's awesome. I can just see George and his son watching this show, because this really appeals to the older fans as well.
Right.
Now, when you're writing the shows, how do you balance that very thin line of providing humor for the kids and the adults?
We just write it for us.
Yeah, that's the God's honest truth. I mean, we're juveniles at heart.
Yes. So
you know, our goal is to always make a good Star Wars story in the Lego universe. So we want to make sure we get some Lego humor in here and there in every episode. But, you know, we want the show to be everything that Star Wars is, which means we want it to be the adventure and the action and the characters you love and the comedy, because when Star Wars is working at its best, it's really funny. And we want it to have the charm, and we want to have the surprises that make you gasp and say, "Oh my God, Darth Vader's his dad." You know, we want those level of twists, and you know, we want it to be everything that Star Wars is, and that's the way we approach it.
And we very intentionally want this to be something that families watch together. So it's not. This isn't a kid show; it's a family show.
Right.
And then that means we want to make sure that it's something that, you know, mom and dad are going to enjoy alongside their kid. And it works on, you know, multiple levels in terms of some of the content. It occasionally dips into some pretty heady depth in terms of what it's talking about, sort of philosophically. And that may be a little over the head of the younger set watching, but I think it plants seeds there, like it did probably with us at that age. And then also the parents kind of get it too, of like, oh yeah, that's, hopefully they resonate with them as that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, judging by the fan reaction at Star Wars Celebration Orlando, they are loving the show, and it really does appeal to the adults and the kids as well, because we all see things at different levels.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's even some of our friends cosplayed, you know, Cordy and Rowan at that panel that I was able to attend, and actually it was fun.
At a battle droid.
Yeah, the battle droid.
Wasn't that
and then Matt Wood did the voice of the battle droid, which was like blew my mind.
Yeah, it was a thrill to see cosplayers and that Roger. It was
because that's an investment of time and imagination and resources on people to say, hey, we're into the show and we want to connect with it on an even deeper level.
Right.
And I don't think there's anything more flattering or honoring to have people sort of invest themselves that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they're investing themselves in returning characters, as well as some of the new characters that you guys come up with, which must be really, really fascinating and just humbling to see people react to something you created in the Star Wars universe. Now, I gotta say, one of our goals here on Skywalking through Neverland is to make Hoojibs canon. You guys are familiar with Hoojibs, right?
Yep. I've been following you guys in your Hoojib campaign. I meant to look it up before we got on the phone, and I totally forgot. But I'm 90% certain that in our very first draft of the Bible for season 1, there is a mention of Hoojibs. I think we mentioned a Hoojib trader on the wheel.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because I remember Leland complimenting us on it. He's like, "Well, that's a deep track, guys."
All right. Now, mentioning him is one thing, but I think the Freemaker Adventures is just the series ripe for these little creatures. Now, to help us with our case, our podcast composer Rob Dellinger, he wrote this little jingle to help with our campaign.
Lego Star Wars, the Freemaker Adventures. Season 2 is coming up with characters you know and love. But we have one question. Will there be Hoojibs? Will there be Hoojibs? Will there be Hoojibs? Make Hoojibs canon.
No pressure. No pressure. Just putting it out
Bravo. Well done. Love that. Let's put it this way. We haven't done it yet. Hope springs eternal.
Okay.
I love Hoojibs as much as you guys do.
Okay. Yay! You know what? If you could name one of them the Woloski, that would be great. That would be fantastic. Once again, no pressure, but and we'd be very, very honored.
No pressure at all.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to try our best, guys. We're going to try our best.
Woohoo!
You know what? That's all we want to hear.
That's all. Yeah, that's all we can ask.
Our days are complete.
Someone on Twitter just asked me if there would be a bacon-based character. I said, well, I can't promise anything.
A bacon? A what-based character?
No, a bacon. A character made of bacon. A bacon Jedi specifically. And I was like, well,
that's
wow.
That's an odd request.
I can't promise.
This begs the question: what other odd requests have you gotten over Twitter? Because I know you guys are very active on Twitter.
That is very Lady Gaga too, to have a bacon Jedi.
Oh yes.
I haven't gotten anything like a bacon Jedi.
We sometimes get people submitting, like here's a drawing I made of, what the Freemakers could look like, in different costumes, and that kind of thing is always really cool to see.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of requests for please make a Lego Baby Wampa, which we heartily endorse.
Yes, that's coming from Teresa.
Yeah, and we also have a lot of folks saying they want Grabala, the Hutt, as a figure, which we would also love to see.
Oh, yeah.
How about Jackson, the giant green bunny? Just saying.
Another deep cut. Yeah, I don't think we're not going to be able to help you with Jackson. We'll do what we can with Hoojibs.
Oh,
okay, guys. I just looked it up. I'm looking at the very first draft of our Bible, and I'm going to read you a sentence from the second paragraph, or a couple sentences. On the distant edge of the Empire is a massive space station known as the Wheel. The Wheel is home to thousands of species and a busy hub of commerce. If you look on the crowded central concourse past the exotic spice traders and Hoojib pelt merchants, you'll find a humble storefront, Freemaker Salvage and Repair.
Oh, whoa! Hoojib pelts, though. Oh my gosh!
It took a dark turn.
In your house?
Well, I guess PETA hasn't really been on the wheel yet.
Yeah.
So, Richard, this is exciting. This is like breaking news.
Yeah, it is. Boy, our whole lives have been gearing up to this one moment right here.
Yeah,
we're almost to the finish line.
We'll try to. We'll listen. If we ever get a chance, we'll not only show a Hoojib belt merchant, but we'll show him being overrun by a horde of angry Hoojibs bringing justice.
Oh. You know what? We will name our first child Freemaker Adventures. If you can do that for us, that would be phenomenal.
Amazing.
Yeah, or you know what? I got an idea. When Disney comes to you with the news that season 3 of Freemaker Adventures has been greenlit, maybe there's a plot line where the Freemakers team up with the Hoojibs to defeat the Empire and bring peace and order to the galaxy.
I like where your head is at.
Yeah, maybe Rowan could, teach a few of them to be, Force users or something.
Yeah.
Oh. Force using electricity eating bunnies.
So almost like it mirrored Return of the Jedi. You had the Ewoks, but now the Freemakers have the Hoojibs.
I like it.
Will there be a season 3, do you think? Will season 2 leave us with a cliffhanger, which is going to force Disney's hand?
We can't comment. We're just gonna say...
But if you were to comment, what would you say?
I would say if I comment, I'm going to lose my job. How about that?
No. We're so close to this Hoojib thing. We can't have you lose your job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll say season 2 comes to what we think is a very satisfying conclusion, and there are
more stories maybe to tell.
More stories maybe to tell.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, you know what, you guys? We had such fun talking with you today, and we would like to know, you guys are so active on Twitter, so where can people find the Freemaker Adventures and both of you on social media, and what hashtag should we use?
I'm at Automatic Gravy. I obsessively search for hashtag Freemaker Adventures, so that one is the one that's always going to get my attention.
Yeah, I'm at Inevitably Bill. And yeah, we like hashtag Freemakers or Freemaker Adventures or hashtag Lego Star Wars, and then I had and there is also a Facebook page of Lego Star Wars or Freemaker Adventures.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I know whenever I do the hashtag Freemaker Adventures, you guys are always on it. So yes, to our Skywalkers out there, if you use that hashtag, you guys can talk with Bob and Bill on Twitter. It's just the most awesome thing. And we do appreciate that you guys are always responding.
Yeah, we love to talk with the fans. Happy to do it.
Shout-outs, Skywalker shout-outs. Which Skywalkers get props from here in Neverland? Who has tweeted out? Shout out. Who has photobombed? Shout out. Who has shared a post? Shout out.
All right, for shout-outs, we are going to start on Twitter with Lance Dobersek, who is at Dobersek Design, and he tweeted, "Great coverage of Cars 3. I wish more people would go see it. So well done, even for us drip pans."
Ouch.
I know.
Ouch.
Oh my goodness.
I resemble that statement.
So yes, Lance, we hope many people go see Cars 3. And he also tweeted, he went on to tweet, "This feels like a summer classic I hope doesn't get overlooked. Well-crafted messages and fun." Well, we think so too, and I hope our Cars 3 episode with Teresa Delgado demonstrated that, and I hope some of you saw it because of that. So, Missy Davis, did you see it?
Yeah, let's give a shout out to Missy Davis, who just joined us on Facebook. Or is that
I think that's YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah, that's YouTube.
See, once again, me and Palpatine are alike. Can't get it right. Can't get it together.
It's true. So we thank you. We love when you tweet at us thoughts about our shows. We are at Skywalking Pod.
All right, we're going to skip this one because that's going to tie into next week.
Okay. So now we are going to head to YouTube, where we got some comments on our videos, and also people are subscribing on YouTube, which is exciting. We've gotten about 20 more since last week, so if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please head over there. We are youtube.com/Skywalking through Neverland, and I want to give a shout out to Dark Empire 373, who posted a comment on our Classic Marvel Star Wars Comics latest episode, and he wrote, or she, "I love this old comic series and own all of them. This was Star Wars for me between the movies when I was a kid. I used to make a monthly trip on my bike to the spinner rack at the local pharmacy to pick up each issue."
Whoa, that brings me back.
Yeah, didn't you do that?
Yes, I did.
I was like, you went to the farm. What was that name of that store?
It was called the Oakley Spa,
Okay.
but to us locals, we called it John's.
Okay.
John's or Mickey's.
And we walked by it, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I was
Yes,
like,
we
we
did.
went into it. It's like this tiny little shop.
That was my hub. That was my social media hub when I was a kid. You could go in there and get the latest latest Topps cards, the latest Star Wars comic book, the latest Star Wars monthly poster.
Aww.
Everything you wanted was right there. Oh, I love that place.
Aw.
I loved it. And the spinner racks, those are those like 5-foot-high racks that has different columns of comics, and you spin the rack around to pick out your favorite Star Wars or
Wait a minute.
Archie comic.
Is that why it's called a spinner rack?
Yes. See, I was building to that, but you know what? You stole my thunder, okay? I didn't think you got it from the whole spinner rack name.
Uh-huh.
But that's why it was called the spinner rack.
Now, when
did I oversimplify things?
No.
Okay, it's about 5 feet tall, and it spins, and it's a rack. It's a rack that spins. Hence, spinner rack. Did we get it?
I think so.
All right, now, what I don't get is the fact that Gilberto Picasso just said I looked like Benny Hill. I do get that because of the hat.
Who's Benny Hill? Who's Benny Hill? I don't know who Benny Hill is. Hey, my aunt joined. Hi, Mary.
Benny Hill was an English comic. He had this show where it would never fly these days.
Okay.
Very perverse. He was a very perverted middle-aged Englishman, and everything he did was always sped up.
Okay.
In fact, we did an homage to it in Day Jobs. To the music.
Oh.
The music that sounds like this.
Okay.
So if you don't know him, you know what? Don't worry about it. He wasn't that funny anyway.
Justin Smith says, play the Benny Hill. We will. On the episode. All right.
Benny Hill.
Okay, well, I had another question on John's that you used to go to.
Okay.
Because we went in and it was like this tiny shop.
Yeah.
So as a kid, did it seem really big? Because No?
It was about medium size.
Okay.
It was about medium. It wasn't like as big as a supermarket. It wasn't tiny like a little newsstand, but it had aisles in it. It had about 4 or 5 different aisles, which made it seem like a pretty good sized store.
Okay.
And now it's like the size of this studio we're in right now.
Exactly. Yeah, because I remember going back to my middle school after I was, all grown, and it just seemed so small. And I remember the hallways just being big and like all the lockers being tall. And nope, it was small.
Here's a tangential memory from John's. They used to have newspaper racks.
Okay.
And in this one newspaper, I'm not sure which one, it was like an Inquirer type of paper, it had a headline, Star Wars is a big ripoff.
Oh, no.
And I said, okay, I've got a job to do here. And I started tearing apart all of these newspapers. I'm 8 years old. I didn't really know any better. Maybe I did. I don't know.
Uh-oh.
But the manager, Mickey, heard the sound and comes running. Like, Richard, what are you doing? He knew me from when I was a little kid, so he knew who I was. Hey, Richard, what are you doing? I don't like this headline, so I'm going to rip it up. But, in the end, my mom had to come down and pay for all those papers.
Oh, no.
You know what? I was just doing my part. Didn't like that headline, so out it goes.
Oh.
Okay, tangential thought over.
Okay.
All right, so now with that, let's roll into a very long overdue Skywalker of the Week.
Teresa Delgado. Teresa Delgado.
Congratulations to my fangirl friend Teresa! I can't believe you haven't been Skywalker of the Week yet. You've been on the show so many times, but never Skywalker of the Week. So, it's time. You're the Skywalker of the Week. Yay!
Maybe she just hasn't contributed enough.
What?
Whoa! That's what you got to do. I'm sorry. Those are the parameters.
No. On Disney Vault Talk, she's been talking us up.
I know.
So
we're going to have her on very shortly to talk about Avatar Land.
Yes, or Pandora, the world of Avatar.
See, exactly.
I can't.
Exactly.
That's like Harry Potter Land.
Yeah, or Star Wars Land.
It's called Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
Nope.
But that's just way too hard to say.
Yeah. Just like with Star Wars Land, they can call it whatever they want.
Yes.
It's always going to be called Star Wars Land.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, if anyone else wants to become a Skywalker of the Week, how should they go about that?
Ooh, well, you can share our show with your friends on social media in a fun way. You can say, hey, I love this show. Please check it out. Whatever you want to do, or say something funny about the show. You can do this on Twitter or on Facebook or on YouTube even. And we adore that when you guys share the show. That way it gets out to more people and we can just spread the love and joy of Star Wars and Disney. So thank you so, so much, Skywalkers. And then Rob Dellinger will create his very own jingle for you. And he is our podcast composer and also
the John Williams of podcasting. All right, back to the tangent. Gilberto Picasso says fake news.
For
the
what?
whole Star Wars ripoff headline that I had ripped apart.
Oh,
See,
yes.
That headline just was a call to action.
Uh-huh.
Said rip off. Okay, I'll rip it apart. Rip off, rip apart. There's no difference.
Yep.
All right, some other Skywalkers are tuning in and saying that they haven't been Skywalker of the Week.
David Iker? I think he has been.
Yeah, Missy Davis, I think you were too. We'll have to go back through our archives and check this out.
Yes. Now with that wraps up episode 175 of
Skywalking Through Neverland. We'd like to thank Bob Roth and Bill Motz for coming on and telling us all about the LEGO Star Wars Freemaker Adventures Season 2 and some possible inclusions of the Hoojibs. Shh. Oh, that reminds me, everyone, hashtag make Hoojibs canon over there to Bob Roth and Bill Motz,
who are at Automatic Gravy and at Inevitably Bill on Twitter.
Nicely said.
They are very weird Twitter names, but they're fun, and they always respond when you hashtag Freemaker Adventures as well.
Yes, exactly. So we're going to start putting it out to them,
yeah.
Okay? It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Gotta do it.
Let's do it. All right, we also want to thank Jason and Gabe from Blast Points Podcast for sharing their fandom highlight moments. And we're always looking for more fandom highlight moments. And Sarah, in 2 weeks, we'll be at D23 Expo. So if you do see us, come on over. We'll have our recorder with us, and we'll record your tangential fandom highlight moment.
Absolutely. And of course, we want to give a big thank you to all the Skywalkers who listen week in and week out. And a special thank you to those watching us live right now on Facebook and YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, we want to give a reminder about that. Every week we share not only the show, or maybe some videos from Disneyland or Harry Potter. I always call it Harry Potter Land, but Universal, yes. But we also have our weekly series called Archival Revival, which is exclusive to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/skywalkingthrough-neverland. And we want to get 20 more new subscribers by next week, so subscribe to that channel, youtube.com/skywalkingthrough-neverland.
And today being Tuesday, we're going to put up a new video.
Yes, we are. So happy 4th of July, happy new videos, woohoo!
All right, we want to thank all of our friends over there at retrozap.com for doing a great job on retweeting the shows and posting the shows and hosting a whole bunch of podcasts and articles and blogs and podcasts. Podcasts such as Brews and Blasters, the Sandcrawler Podcast, Beltway Banthas,
the Deucecast Movie Show,
Techno Retro Dads, and Talking Apes TV, which we just recorded our last episode before our hiatus.
Ooh.
Since we've run the course on talking about apes on TV, we're going to take a little bit of a hiatus, but we do come back giving our highs and lows of this last season, as well as our review for War for the Planet of the Apes.
Nice. Okay, you can also find Skywalking Through Neverland at jedinews.co.uk. And if you want this conversation to continue throughout the week, we are always on social media. Richard, you've been tweeting.
I've been tweeting a lot.
And you've been tweeting at Skywalking Pod too, right? You've been
yes.
responding?
I've been I haven't gotten the whole retweet thing.
Okay.
But yes.
But as long as you respond. So you're tweeting at SithRich as well as at Skywalking Pod. I'm also tweeting at Skywalking Pod. So if you see Skywalking Pod tweeting, it might be either one of us.
And when we're done with this, guess what I'm going to do? Hashtag make Hoojibs canon.
To Freemaker Adventures?
Yep.
Yay! All right, you can also find us on Instagram And that is at Skywalking Pod as well. And you can join our Facebook group, Skywalkers, which we've gotten a lot of weird requests lately. So just so you know, you can search Facebook for Skywalking Through Neverland group, and you can request to join it. And then there will be 2 questions that pop up, and you have to answer those questions. Otherwise, we won't let you in, because we've gotten a lot of spammers requesting to join lately. It's very odd, and they don't answer the questions, so we don't let them in.
So guess what? You're out of here.
Exactly. So
You're out of here.
To distinguish yourself, answer those questions. It's like a little quiz.
Not very hard questions.
No, they're not very hard.
No studying involved.
You can also email us, and remember to email your fandom moments. Or if you want to record a fandom moment, you can email share@skywalkingthroughneverland.com.
All right, with that, stay tuned for bits of the conversations and some bloopers right after the end credits here. Stuff that didn't really make it into the show, but we thought still a fun listen. So remember to listen to that. Remember to have a happy 4th of July. Remember, don't blow off anything that you need. And then, of course, always remember...
Neverland on Alderaan.
Some imagination, huh?
To our Skywalkers and Tweetwalkers, thanks for listening. Skywalking Through Neverland is created and produced by Richard and Sarah Woloski. Original music by Rob Dellinger. Creative consultant Mark Augushowitz. Technical advisor Peter Heitman. Facebook administrators Donald Wicks, Joey Pittman, and Norma Heitman.
Skywalking Through Neverland is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Any sounds, music, and clips played during this podcast are the property of their copyright holders. All original content is property of Skywalking Through Neverland, all rights reserved. Sorry, had to be said. Kids, don't smoke. Uncle Sam wants you to stop smoking.
Oh, Martin Keeler. Hello, Martin.
Oh. Hey, Martin Keeler.
And
I would say happy 4th of July, but...
You look amazing.
Yeah, but I should have really dressed up.
Well, actually, I wasn't dressed up, and Richard came around the corner getting ready for recording in this. And I'm like, oh no. I got to meet this. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Before we go on, do you guys have a few more minutes? Because we do have a few more questions for you.
Yeah.
We just want to be respectful of your time.
We've got as much time as you need.
Okay.
All right, settle in.
Okay.
Oh, so now when will season 2 premiere?
Coming this summer to a galaxy near you.
Can you tell us a month?
June,
July,
one of the summer months. We can tell you that.
It will be either June, July, August, possibly September.
Yeah.
You guys have been learning from Dave Filoni how to tap dance, haven't you?
Yes, you have.
Well, listen, Lucasfilm NDAs are they're the scariest document you're ever going to read. Like the worst, most horrifying Stephen King book doesn't come close to a Lucasfilm NDA.
Wow.
Oh, there's another spin-off series right there. The Lucasfilm Lawyers. We can't wait to see season 2, and that comes out when?
It comes out. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, we're going through a canyon, guys. You're breaking up.
Oops. Let's get into a really fun discussion with Bill Roth and...
Nope, Bob Roth.
See? See, Palpatine, we do have a lot in common.
Oh my gosh. Especially if you're a teenage boy. I just saw a chart.
Remember, don't blow off any body... Well,
no, that doesn't sound good.
No.
Are we done? Can I stop this?
Yes.
Okay.